Hey guys, HotRod08 here, and welcome to Support Patch Notes 8.7, where I will be going over the changes that affect support champions for each patch during Season 8, as well as providing a place for you guys to discuss the changes below. Now, patch 8.7 is supposed to be a small patch, but there actually are a lot of changes that affect support this patch, so I will have all of the timestamps in the description below, but rather than that, let's get straight into it. Now, the first section we're going to cover tonight are the champion changes, and the first champion that's going to be getting changed in this patch is Leona. What they're doing is they're switching her default passive adaptive damage from AP to AD. Now, there's certain rooms, let's say like Absolute Focus, that give AP or AD depending on what champion it's on or what you've been building. And for the early game, it's normally been adding AP, which isn't the best on her. Well, now they switched her passive adaptive damage to AD, which some of her abilities can use the AD in the early game in order to burst the enemy champions down. So it's definitely going to be a nice little buff for Leona during the laning phase. Definitely going to give her just a little bit more kill potential early in the game. And the other champion this patch that's had a change is Lux. Now, mostly she is played in the mid lane, but she has just enough people player as a support champion to consider her a support champion for these patch notes. And her ultimate is going to be buffed. Normally, her cooldown, if you got a kill with it, was refunded at 10%, 30%, and 50%. And now it's going to be buffed to 30%, 40%, and 50%. So earlier in the game, her refund on her ultimate cooldown, if she gets a kill, is going to be more increased. And finally, it used to be that the ultimate itself had to be the thing that killed an enemy champion or to get that cooldown refund. Well, now it states that if a enemy dies within 1.75 seconds after being hit by her ultimate, that she'll get the refund. So even if another one of her abilities kills the enemy, or even if another champion kills the enemy up to 1.75 seconds after they got hit by her ult, her cooldown is going to be refunded. It's definitely going to be a nice buff to her. She's going to be using her ultimate a lot more often now in order to be bursting down enemy champions. Next, we're going to move into our item changes this patch, and we're going to start off with talking about Locket of the Iron Solari, which is actually receiving quite a heavy nerf this patch. They're decreasing a lot of the stats from it. So the base shield is getting lowered from 38 to 30. Each of the level ups is going to go down from 22 to 15. The bonus health ratio is going to change from 2 to 36% at levels 1 through 18 to 20%, which normally people got this item at least second item, which would be around level 9, level 10. So at that point, it would level out, but as you get higher levels, it's going to stay at 20% now instead of going up to 36%. So that's definitely a nerf. Its cooldown is going to be increased from 90 seconds to 120 seconds, which if you want to consider that to other items, Redemption at this current time is 120 seconds. So they're both going to be at the same cooldown now. If there's multiple shields on the same team, it's going to be, instead of half effective, it's going to be only a fourth effective now. And the multiple shield reduction duration, instead of 8 seconds, it's going to be lower, or increase, I guess, up to 20 seconds. So this is quite a heavy hit to people that are going to be taking Locket of the Iron Solari. I did the quick math on my computer for without taking into consideration the health ratio, because they'll be about the same at level 9. These decreases are going to change a user at level 9 using Locket Iron Solari from having 236 shield to 165 shield. So it's quite a heavy nerf. It's going to make other items such as Banner of Command or Zeke's Convergence be a lot more effective, as opposed to now taking Locket the Iron Solari on them. For the next item we're going to be talking about, Ninja Tabi, which isn't going to really be a nerf to tankier supports, but it's definitely going to be a nerf to squishier supports that need to take Ninja Tabi. What they're doing is they're lowering the armor from 30 to 20, and they're actually increasing the base attack damage reduction from 10% to 12%. which is why it's not going to hurt the tankier supports as much that are taking this. But one of the main reasons people would take Ninja Tabi on support is if there are multiple assassins on the enemy team, like Kha'Zix or Zed, that are building lethality, that 30 armor really cut down on the lethality that was killing them. Well, now it's only going to be 20 armor, so that lethality, that assassin is going to be coming at you with, is going to be a lot more effective against you. So assassins are going to be a lot more deadly versus squishy supports, so you're definitely going to have to watch out for assassins during patch 8.7. And the last item we're going to be talking about tonight is going to be a change happening in the Relic Shield line. Now, originally it looks like a nerf, but I'll explain why it's more of a change than a nerf. But basically, the gold per 10 values are going to be decreased on all three of the items. So on the Relic Shield, it's going to be lowered from 2 gold to 1 per 10 seconds. Targon's Brace is going to be lowered from 4 gold to 1 per 10 seconds. And then Remnant, the Aspect, is going to be lowered from 4 gold to 1 per 10 seconds. Now, why they are doing this is because they actually did a change to the minions this patch. Now, if we come up here, the change to the minions, basically, to give you a quick overview, as the game went on, all three of the minions tend to get more gold as the game went on. Well, now the melee and caster minions aren't going to gain any gold as the game goes on, but the sage minions are going to gain a lot more gold as the game goes on. And the sage minions base gold is going to be increased from 45 to 60, and then every 3 waves, the gold growth is going to go up by 3. So this is going to make sage minions a lot more gold worth than the other minions. And since melee champions try to hit the cannon minions in order to get their gold, since they have the most value, you're actually going to get more gold hitting those. And as the game goes on, it's going to be worth more and more. So early in the game, you might not get your quests as fast, because maybe sometimes you're going to be zoned off the cannon minion and you're not going to be able to get that gold, and you're going to have to hit the caster melee minions, which isn't going to be worth as much gold anymore, so it might take you a little longer. But as the game goes on, as long as you're able to kill those sage minions, they're going to be worth more and more gold. So by the end of the game, you should actually have more gold than you do in this patch, but earlier in the game, it's not going to be anywhere near as much gold as you're making, and that quest will come just a little bit slower for you. And the last group of things we're going to talk about tonight are the rune changes. We have several different rune changes. We're just going to go down the list, start talking about them. And the first thing we're going to talk about is the Resolve Tree. Now, originally, when you had the Resolve Tree as your primary rune, you just got flat 65 health when you went with the other runes, except when you went Resolve and Inspiration, you got 130 flat health, or if you went Inspiration first and then Resolve second, you got 140 health. Now it's going to be changing into a scaling rune, so instead of 65 health, you get 15 to 135 health between level 1 through 18. Resolve plus Inspiration will change from 130 health to 30 to 270 health between level 1 through 18, and then finally Inspiration plus Resolve is going to change from 140 health to 35 to 300 health at levels 1 through 18. Now, I'm going to mark this as a change, since it is a scaling rune now, but overall it's going to be just a slight nerf to the tank line, since early in the game they're going to have less health to deal with champions that are going to poke them down, such as Brand or Zyro, or enchanters that can possibly do damage like Nami or Lulu, and it's going to be a buff to those same roles, those enchanter pokers and then the AP casters, since they are going to be able to poke out those Resolve Tree users, those tanks, just a little faster in the early game. But as the game goes on, those runes are going to scale up. As you get into the mid and late game, they will actually give you more health than they do now. So early game, it's going to be a nerf. As the game goes on, it will be a buff to those users. Going down the list, we're going to be talking about yet another rune that's going to be changing from early game to a scaling rune, and that is going to be Manaflow Band. So originally, in this current patch, every 75 seconds, you're able to use one of your abilities and you got all the mana back, plus you restored 8% of your missing mana. Well, now it's going to be switching to a scaling rune. So now it states, hitting enemy champions with a spell grants 25 maximum mana, up to 250 mana, and you can do that every 15 seconds. You can proc that 25 maximum mana again. And now it says, upon earning 250 mana, Manaflow Band restores 1% of your missing mana every 5 seconds. So, this is going to hurt several different champions early game, such as Nami or Lulu, that are trying to poke down enemy champions, and also other champions that have really expensive abilities, such as Blitzcrank's Q that got completely free. Now, as I said, it's going to be a more scaling rune for the later game, so you'll be able to use your abilities more as the game goes on. But in the early game, you're not going to be able to poke down enemy champions as easily as you could this patch. So it's definitely going to be an overall nerf to the early game, but it will get better as the game goes on. Heading down the list yet again, we're going to be talking about Zombie Ward, which is receiving quite a heavy nerf this patch. So before this patch, the Zombie Ward duration lasted from 60 to 180 seconds between levels 1 through 18. Now it's changed to 30 seconds at levels 1 through 4. And then from level 5 to 18, it is going to go from 36 to 120 seconds. Now, this is definitely going to be a hard hit to Zombie Ward. That duration really did make a difference on that vision. Now, the vision is definitely not going to be quite as good. It's going to definitely put it in line more with Ghost Poro. Ghost Poro, I could see now being the rune you take if you want an early game warding rune, because that is you're going to be able to ward out as often as you need to. Just put in a bush and it's going to be there every single time you need it. Whereas Zombie Ward is definitely not going to be as reliable as it was beforehand. So now you're going to have to make a choice. If you're going to want an early game warding rune, you're going to take Ghost Poro. And if you want later game warding, but not anywhere near as much as it can now, early game, you would take Zombie Ward. So that's going to be a decision you are going to have to make each game. Heading down the list, we're going to be talking about a niche rune that's not taken too often, but can affect a few champions, and that is going to be Approach Velocity. So now its movement speed is going to be increased from 10% to 15%. This is the rune in the inspiration tree that if one of your allies is CC'd, or if you yourself CC'd an enemy champion, that you are going to have that movement speed going towards them. So this is a rune that would be taken on like immobile support champions that want to catch up to their enemies, such as Tom Kench or Taric. So with that extra 5% movement speed, that's actually quite a buff if you want to take this rune. It might not be a rune that you take every single game, but if they have several like immobile champions that you want to catch up to that don't have very great escapes, that extra 5%, taking Approach Velocity for a total of 15% to catch up to them might very well be a good rune for you to take at this point. And finally, the last two runes I'm going to be talking about tonight, I'm going to kind of pair together since they're both not used very much on the supports, but it is honorable mention. That is going to be the changes to Presence of Mind and Legend Tenacity. Now, Presence of Mind was the rune that if you got a kill or assist on an enemy champion, or whenever you leveled up, you had free mana to use for the next 7 seconds. Well, now it states that enemy takedowns restore 20% of your maximum mana and refund 10% of your ultimate's cooldown. So they took away the part that whenever you level up, you get that free mana, and you only get 20% of your maximum mana restored every time there's a kill or assist. So it's going to be more of a rune that you would take for team fights as opposed to laning, in order to get your be able to use your abilities for free, and you're not able to spam. And I mentioned that because I took Presence Mind and Legend Tenacity on Tark. That's definitely going to hurt him pretty hard, at least for how I built him and how some other Tark players built him. So that Presence Mind.Changed is going to be definitely a hard-hitting rune against him. Legend Tenacity is getting a buff, though. As I stated, I still used it beforehand, but now it's going to be even better. So beforehand, it gave you 5% Tenacity plus 1.5% extra Tenacity per stack. So total out at 20% at 10 stacks. Well, now it's going to be 5% plus 2.5% per stack. So it's going to max out at 30% extra tenacity. So if a player takes the precision tree as secondary, even like a Tark player still tries to use Presence of Mind, while that mana isn't going to be completely as good anymore, that Legend Tenacity is going to be a lot better now. That Tenacity from 20 to 30% is going to be a very noticeable change. As I said, there's not too many support champions that use either one of these runes, but I wanted to say it just because I know personally that me and a few other people use that at least on Tark, so I just wanted to let you guys know that those changes were coming as well. So those are going to be all the changes coming to patch 8.7. Thank you for making it to the very end of this video, as I know this patch note is quite a bit longer than some of the others that I have done. If you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, I urge you to consider, as I host multiple different support-focused videos that you very well might enjoy. Please like this video as well, as I do absolutely appreciate your help. If you really enjoy the content, hit that notification bell to get all of my content as it comes up. Also, I have just started up a new Patreon for my channel. If you are a huge fan of the channel, I urge you to take a look at the different perks of being a patron are, ranging from supporting the channel for just $1 and having your name put at the end of every video when I get up to 3 patrons, up to having me as a friend on League of Legends and having me review your games and putting them up on my channel. Thanks again for watching this video, and you yourself have a great day today. Thanks much.